Hey guys, welcome back to Alternative Smallholding. I'm Jazz and today we are in our greenhouse. I did intend to film a video out on the plot to show you a few things, but it is blowing a gale, so we're stuck in here and hopefully the wind isn't too disruptive. Now, this is going to be a slightly different video. Last year we started a challenge called the 2018 Roundup. And that was like the year in review, and I set, say, 5 questions for you to answer, which kind of summarised your year. This year, we're not going to call it the 2019 Roundup because a few people were like, Roundup? As in like the weed killer? So no, we're not going to do that. So it's just the 2019 in review, or 2019 review. I've changed the questions up a little bit, and at the end I'll nominate a few people, but I hope you find this video entertaining. It is not going to be just me sitting here, I promise. There is, I'm trying to edit this in a different way. It's a bit windy. Roo's going past now. I think she's going to go and sit in the shed and shelter out the wind. So we are going to answer 6 questions this year. We're going to do what did we enjoy the most. Let's start on a positive note. Then we're going to do our best crop of the year, our biggest challenge of the year, our worst crop of the year, a new skill that we have learnt, and also what we will do differently in 2020. So stick with us and we're going to take you through our 2019 growing year, hopefully in not too long a video. So question number 1. What did we enjoy most this year? Now, this new plot that we've got, we took it over in October 2018. Because I was ill at the time and because of winter, we didn't get to make it ours. I can honestly say that what I've enjoyed the most is working on this new plot and getting this now to be our plot, and it's been really lovely. You've got some really nice big ones. When you're taking cuttings, you want the top cut to be above a bud. So remember, top, over the top, and you want the bottom cut to be underneath a bud. Are Ami Majors, which are a cultivated version of Queen Anne's lace, and I am so in love with these. The previous owners really looked after this space. The ground was nurtured as much as it probably could be, but we're still finding that a bit challenging, but making this our own has definitely been fun. Another thing that I really enjoyed is foraging, especially with Roo, teaching her that way. We've been home educating too. Oh my word. Foraging time, guys.
Yeah, again, this is gonna be called hawthorn.
This is hawthorn, isn't it?
And just like the rose hips, they're actually not poisonous.
They're not poisonous, no, but people think they are, don't they?
Yeah.
Going out and finding wild food, and then that leads on to the next one, which is preserving and canning and making wine. So that has been great fun this year, using all of our food to store over winter and have our little pantry set up. So I've really enjoyed doing that. So, our best crop of the year. I'm going to say this one and you probably won't understand why, but it was actually probably tomatoes. Lots of little spoon ones. They're the best tomatoes, aren't they? tomatoes, yes, we had to take them out early, but we grew 120 plants in all, and our goal with doing that was to try and understand how many plants we needed for eating fresh and then for putting up for storage so that we had them over winter. And I think if all of those tomatoes had actually ripened, we lost about, I'd say about 20% in the end to blight. If all of them had ripened, we would have had more to eat fresh, and we would have had just probably the right amount for storage. So our crop actually turned out really well, and the best thing was I at the start of the season I said, if I can just get one plant or one fruit from each plant that I can save the seed from, if the whole year is a failure, then at least I've got seeds for next year. And we did that, so I was really pleased with that. The tomatoes were delicious. We tried so many new varieties, and it was just a real joy to grow these massive fruits, whereas previously we'd only really grown like little cherries or like small like Roma tomatoes. So I really enjoyed those, and they were definitely our best crop, followed swiftly by sweet corn. You remember seeing the sweet corn? You ready? So this is our sweet corn. It is a monster, and some of them have 3 cobs on. Look, 1, 2, 3. In fact, I think most of them do. Look, cool.
The head.
First sweet corn of the year. Are you going to eat it? Sweet corn was amazing. It was so sweet. We had barbecues up here where people went and picked their own corn and then we cooked it, or they just ate it raw, and we had plenty of eating fresh over the season when it was ripe, and now we have a freezer full of it. So hoping to replicate that next year. The corn was just amazing. So that brings us on to question number 3. What was our biggest challenge of the year? Well, it was this. It's raining a little bit. Be okay. The rain has been stopped for a few hours. Mud, mud, mud. It's horrible. We had 2 power cuts, then the rain came, then the wind came, and it is cold, it is blustery, and it is drizzly. So not like heavy rain, but like, you know, that little droplet rain that you don't realise how wet you're getting. Yeah, the rain was, or is, a bit of a pain, to be honest. When it wasn't raining, the summer was overcast and grey, and I think that really affected some of the crops that really needed that sun. It definitely led to the tomato blight, and it was just a really depressing summer, to be honest. The season felt really, really short. And then now, I mean, we've had a couple of days of dry weather, but it's not been workable again because the ground has been sodden. So we really, really need a good stint of dry weather before we can actually start doing our winter work on this plot. The rain has got us down a lot this year. I've seen online and on videos and everything, people have just been a bit, you know, depressed about it, and I can understand that completely. It's been terrible. I mean, the year before we had drought, didn't we? So that was our biggest challenge of 2018, I think. This year's definitely been the rain. So, and also, apart from the rain, has also been my mental health, if I'm going to be absolutely honest, because, you know, I am honest with you guys about my own personal challenges. It has been sometimes that the rain hasn't been raining, but I have personally been challenged to leave the house or to come over here and do something, or to even turn the camera on. Maybe I've been over here and done something, but I haven't been able to film it and talk to you guys. As much as I do love talking to you guys, mental health has actually been a challenge this year as well. I actually took a couple of months off virtually from making videos because of that. But I'm on the mend with that. Don't worry about it, guys. Actually sorting myself out, so that's good. Thank you for sticking with us through that. I do need to say that. You guys have been so supportive, and it's really valuable to making me get up, and the comments that we get. And people say we missed you. It really strikes my heart. I can't believe that I just sit here and ramble about things, and you guys say like you miss us, you look out for our videos and you wish us well and send us love, and that is just so special. So thank you very much. We do appreciate you. You guys have been amazing sticking with us in 2019 through our ups and our downs. So thank you for that. Okay, our worst crop of the year, potatoes. Previous years, potatoes have been one of my favourite things to grow. It's always like, I always say potatoes, when you're digging them up, it's like digging up buried treasure. It always makes me feel like a kid again. But this year, they were awful. We got some new potatoes, our first earlies. They grew okay, not fantastically, but we got a crop. Our second earlies didn't grow any bigger. They just didn't really do anything, but at least they were edible. Our main crop was absolute trash. We grew Valor, which we always grow. It is the one potato that I'm always turning around to you guys and going, it's slug resistant, it's drought resistant, it grows no matter what, gives you massive potatoes. I take it all back. I don't know if it is because where we got the potatoes this year, we got them from our allotment society, whereas usually I get them online. But they were just slugged. I mean, look at this. You want to see my bounty? Is that from 2 rows? And they're mostly slug ridden. So I've taken up most of this row, and one from the next row, one from the next row, and one from the last row, and they're all like this. You see? No one wants to eat those, do they? But definitely our worst crop was our potatoes. But instead of meaning we going and buying a lot of potatoes, we're just adjusting our diet. We're just not eating as many of them. So it's the same as if our girls don't lay eggs. We generally don't buy eggs unless we get them from our farm where we volunteer. We just adjust what we eat to keep us more seasonal and to adapt our diet to what we have. This wind is... There's a tree directly behind you and it's looking very precarious at the moment. Another thing that didn't grow very well is our beans all round, so dwarf beans and climbing beans. They didn't do very well. Don't know why. Usually we say they're the easiest thing to grow, don't we? But this year they just didn't do very well. And also our squash, we planted I think in the end about 27 squash, and we got like 3 plants. We got 1 buttercup, 1 yukikuri, I can never pronounce that, so sorry if I say it wrong, and 1 festival acorn squash. That was it out of all the plants that we grew, so that was quite a disappointment. What we do have is delicious and we're using it. It's very, very nice, but I had hoped for a lot more of them. So they're the 3 things that didn't do well this year. There's other things that did like okay, some things that did a bit better, but definitely potatoes, squash and beans were a bit of a disappointment, and the kind of things that we do store and keep for over winter as well, so that has affected how we eat, but it's not a problem, we just adjust. So question number 4, new skills. This is something that I wanted to learn more about at the start of the year. Never really put much energy into it, but I actually learnt as I went. I watched videos and I read a little bit about it, and you guys gave me lots of feedback, and that is composting, whether it be for say vegetable scraps and vegetation, or if it is something like chicken manure or horse manure. I was really, really pleased with what we got out of our compost bays. It was only 1 year old. Even our leaf mould was actually usable as a good mulch after only 1 year. I'm really, really impressed with that. I'll show you now what that looked like when we dug it out, because I was really, really pleased. Look at that black gold. Look at that. Well, that is one big pile of well-rotted chicken poo. Aside from the composting, which means that we can be a little bit more self-sustainable, and we're putting a lot more effort into that further going forward, another thing that I have learned from scratch this year and I'm really enjoying is winemaking. Now, or home brewing, because I've done beers or ales for Beardy Dude as well. I was speaking to Erica about it at the start of the year, and I've been speaking to James at Happy Homestead a little bit, like through his videos, and I've learned quite a lot. I've learned now at the point where I can actually adjust a recipe to say this is how I like it. It's a roux. And I've really enjoyed making that, not only for me to drink but to share with other people. And I do plan on actually doing those videos to show you at some point, by the way. Hello.
Hello.
What's up?
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay. So yeah, winemaking has been a great lesson to learn, and what I loved about it the most is we're using foraged ingredients as well, so often it is free other than say the sugar and the yeast. And also it is something that my dad used to do when I was little. He always used to have a demijohn bubbling away behind his chair, so I feel like it's keeping that old skill alive, which is something that I talked about a lot at the start of the year. Are you done already?
Yeah.
That was short but sweet.
Bye.
She's been really good at the moment. She's done loads of sewing for Scouts, and she's earning some extra badges. I'm really pleased that she's only 8 years old and she's very confident using a sewing machine, so I'm really proud of her. So yeah, she's a cutie. So yeah, new skills that I've learnt this year. I've learnt quite a few things, but the two that really stand out to me are composting and winemaking. Both of them use up something that we maybe have in excess, so we can either compost down extra things or make wine out of it, and even then we can compost the vegetables that come out from the winemaking. So nothing goes to waste, which is something that I'm quite passionate about, to be honest. Okay, so finally, my final question is, what are our plans for 2020, or what would I do differently? Or what would I do different? Oh my gosh, I cannot talk. Or what would I do differently in 2020? There we go, got it out in the end, haven't I? So I'm just going to look down at my notebook because I made quite a few notes on this, and I'm probably not going to tell you all of them, but okay, in terms of growing, we are changing a couple of things that we're going to grow. Usually we grow about 60 dwarf bean plants and bush beans, but we're not going to grow those next year. We think that they take up too much space, and when we have other crops that we want to be more self-sufficient in, we can grow the climbing beans rather than the dwarf beans, and they take up much less space, and they're just as nice. It's just, I prefer the dwarf beans if I'm honest, but climbing beans, they're just as nice. So we will not be doing dwarf beans, and also I won't be doing celery this year. We grew two varieties, one that I grew from seed and one that I bought from a garden centre or nursery, and neither of them come up very well. And I still want that elusive eating celery that you can just like pick and eat, that isn't just bitter or tough and actually grows big fat stalks. But to be honest, we've got other plans for what we're doing with the space next year, and celery just isn't going to be part of that. Maybe the year after, once we've laid everything out properly, I don't know. But we're not doing celery, we're not doing dwarf beans. We will be doing more winter veg now that we will be changing the layout of the plot, and we'll have everything where it needs to be. We won't be moving things over winter as such, so I can actually prepare beds and say that is to last us over winter. So we'll be growing like a lot more kale plants, for instance. We grew 4 this year, I'm going to grow like 20, 25 next year, which will keep us in fresh kale hopefully a bit more over the winter. In terms of planting, we're going to be doing a lot more. In terms of planting, we'll be doing a lot more intensive planting, rather than leaving big spaces in between them. We'll be narrowing it down a little bit more in terms of using, say, market garden bed systems, so you get a higher crop per bed and you circulate that quite quickly. I want to make sure that we're making the best use of the space that we've got, so that we've got more to put up and preserve next year. Although we had a good amount this year, we need a lot more. It's not that I'm stingy, I just don't like to spend money on things when I don't have to, and I hate over winter going to the shops and buying vegetables when I can either have them in my freezer or I can preserve them, make loads of pickles. See, pickles are my thing. I eat a lot of pickles, and so I want to be able to make a load of pickles to put up that will last me through the season. So that's what we need to do. Use the ground more intensively or more productively. More productively is probably a better word. We also need to preserve the pathways on this plot. To be honest, that has been a big challenge this year. with the wet that we've had, the pathways have eroded quite a lot. We really need to get some good weed membrane down on the pathways once we've finished lining them up, because as you know, we're doing new pathways through the plot. And then I need to get onto that wood surgeon again, the tree surgeon, and I need to badger him for that load of chips that he said he was going to drop for me. So hopefully we'll have a better pathway system and it won't be as slippy, so even if we do have rain again next year, we'll actually be able to use the plot a little bit better. And also I want to do more foraging. I am actually signing up for a foraging course. I know a good amount as it is. I share some of it with you, but there's things that I'm not quite sure about, and I'm nervous to tell you this plant is okay to eat without you being able to identify it properly yourself, or me being able to give any substantial information about it. And what I want to do is take this foraging course and learn some more substantial information, kind of validate my own knowledge in a way, and then share that more with you guys. I've had requests for videos where we go foraging and then we take that harvest and we go home and I show you how I use it, and that's something that I definitely want to do more of next year. So I'll be doing that more with you, and I'll be showing you more homebrew videos and preserving videos and all sorts of things. So cooking as well. Cooking is something I really want to show you. So I think that's just been a massive waffle, to be honest. Have I waffled? I always waffle, don't I? Sorry. So we've talked through what we enjoyed. So that was like setting up the new plot. I've really enjoyed spending time with you guys as well. Interacting with you guys has been lovely. The community is fantastic, and it's not just people who make videos as well, it's the people who follow us and interact with us on, say, our Facebook group and on Instagram. That is so valuable and so special to us, so thank you for that. And also gardening with Beardy Dude and Roo, it's always special, isn't it? We talked through our best crops, our worst crops, our new skills, our challenges, and what we want to do for next year. And next year as well, I forgot to say, I also want to do more growing undercover. We'll have our wooden greenhouse erected, we'll have the polytunnel, we'll have this greenhouse. And that means that hopefully, if it is another wet year, which I'm really hoping it's not, because then the tomatoes will be undercover, and especially my new record-breaking tomatoes that I shall be growing. I hope, anyway. But I plan to grow some big tomatoes and take them to the Malvern show. That is my goal. Roo wants to do it. Whether they actually place at all, it doesn't matter. That is not the goal. The goal is to go and have fun, and there's probably a couple of other categories that we might enter as well, just for fun. So there you go. So I need to nominate some people. Last year I think I nominated 5. I'm going to do 3 this year, and the first one is going to be The Young Grower, quite a new channel. You guys need to check him out. So The Young Grower, answer our questions, they're all going to be listed below. The second one is Roo's Life, a lovely friend of ours. Again, a lovely little small channel. She's got her own little farm, and she is just a beautiful person, and I really want to hear what your challenges and ideas are for next year. And then we're going to go across the pond and we're going to go to see Josh at the Citystead. Josh has got big plans for 2020, and I'm interested to see how what this year has been is going to affect what he does next year. So Josh, let us know your answers to the 2019 in review challenge, okay? And everyone else, please do take up this video, spread it around. It's that time of year when we need to do these videos because getting outside can be a bit challenging. And if you let me know down below that you've done the video, I'll add you all to a playlist, and if you're interested in last year's playlist, I'll tag that down below as well, so that you can see who took part last year. So thank you for watching. This has been Rambling Jasmine at Alternative Smallholding, and I am going to go and brave this wind now, get home and have a nice cup of coffee. So take care, we love you guys, and remember, grow all the things. See you soon. Bye bye.